back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one to necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through. It's just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Nambler immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
It may be the midweek, but we are here to bring that action live and exciting to you here at CGL. We've got a banger game in week 3 of the NA Open Tier, and this one promises to be quite an interesting matchup between the Zodiacs and Glizzy, and the Glizzy Gang 2.0. I am Dan. I'm here with the incredible Shadow Fang. And Shadow, week 3, it's getting to the halfway point. Teams gotta really start locking in, and for these two teams in particular, they kind of got some work to do.
No, they absolutely do. You got two teams on basically opposite sides of the spectrum right now as far as what's been happening so far. Glizzy Goats having a forfeit and an 0-3 loss, whereas Zodiacs have a 3-0 win and a 3-0 forfeit in their favor. So at this point, Zodiacs looking to kind of solidify themselves in this tier for that mid-season tournament, whereas the Glizzy Goats are just trying to get a map win under their belt at this point. We can talk about a game win eventually, you know, if they get the first map win here tonight, but first you just got to try and get that first map out of the way.
Yeah, sometimes that first map is the hardest, and like you said, for a team like Glizzy Goats, they really do need it, especially after a revamp for coming from their Goats run. But for a team like the Zodiacs, like we're kind of looking this team over. They are a pretty star power team. They're making waves in the Masters and Advanced Faces, so I don't think we're too surprised. But when you look at the overall ratings and things like that, and speaking of the Zodiacs, you know, this is a team that obviously knows what they're doing. Sturley and Raz on the DPS line, Dexter coming in from across the pond to bring us tank. Ponyo and Ebullient rounding out the support line. And I mean, the Wu Yang, it's hard not to talk about the Wu Yang there.
Oh no, it absolutely is vital right now. It's been like the most impactful hero so far to me, at the very least. Like just the sheer amount of damage that you're able to output, the fact that you can essentially just, what I've been seeing a lot is people have been throwing the Tidal Burst onto the Tracer, just kind of inting hard at the opposing team's Wu Yang, getting that burst, that knockdown, and then just securing that kill immediately. So it's like there's a lot of things that you can do with that ultimate that I would never think to just pop it on a Tracer and just go into the backline and just exist there with extra HP. So like it's a really, really high impact character right now.
It really, really is, but let's check in with the Glizzy Goats and see who they are bringing today, because they've got Artistic Man and Chinggis bringing the DPS, Algebra coming in on tank, and Bertamer and Burn to Cyan rounding out the support line. Similarly looking Dive, though. So, you know, Dive in this meta has been a little hard, particularly because of that Wu Yang you talked about, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. That sheer poke damage that just consistently comes out when you have the Wu Yang, as opposed to not having it. Anytime we have seen teams try and not mirror it, it's like impossible. It feels impossible to beat the comp without having the hero yourself, just because of the sheer healing output and the damage output that could just be consistently coming from across the map, the survivability, the mobility, so on and so forth. Like it's just Wu Yang's in an insanely good position right now, and Dive as a whole is as well, simply due to that fact that character can just enable so much and help your dives with the extra damage that he can output.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of aggression. I think aggression is going to be in the name of the game here because we will be starting out on some aggressive maps. We'll be starting out on round 1 here in Busan, where this is a very level, height and level based one. You have a lot of different angles to watch, so the dive's not going to be as impacted here. And Busan, very, very good for teams that want to play these kinds of fast, aggressive characters, like you said.
Absolutely, I think a character like an Orisa can do really well here. I've seen a lot of Zarya, seen a lot of Diva, and here come the bans coming out as well. We're seeing that Wrecking Ball get banned by the Zodiacs and the Brigida getting banned by the Glizzy Goats. And, getting rid of the Brigida pretty much guarantees you're not going to be playing any sort of on a brick Winston dive. And Wrecking Ball is another one of those characters that's just really, really strong right now. And he has a pretty good time rolling around on Busan, so I think this is a good map to definitely get rid of the ball early.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those cases, but it is one of the things. I don't know. It's interesting though, because like you said, like I don't know that people were going to necessarily play a ton of Brigitte anyways. It feels like Brigitte is kind of, I don't want to say irrelevant, but definitely is not in the prime of her defensive stance here with Wu Yang and. That we did get. Well, it's also worth noting we did get some changes coming into the season soon. I don't think they impact us right this second, but
Right.
down the road, like you kind of get an idea of what's going to change as well. But we don't have We're not going to worry about down the road. We're going to look at it right now because Busan at map 1 for both of these teams is like you had said, kind of an important map, particularly for the Glizzy gang.
Yeah, you really want to set the tempo here. Don't allow yourselves to get caught too off guard by the Zodiacs, and it's a tough ask, but I do think that it feels like, to me at least, the Diva is a really strong pick right now. I like the Diva based compositions around with the Wu Yang. You can opt for a Zarya type of composition as well. I've actually seen like Zarya Reaper
Zarya.
comps doing really well. So that wouldn't be a bad choice either. If you're not wanting to go for like that pure dive, you could try and like send a Reaper after this Wu Yang, potentially do something to that effect. There's options here.
There's definitely a lot of options. And speaking of just big kind of brutal characters, look, I'm gonna throw it out there. I know everybody's gonna curse me and hate it when I say it, but like Mauga also pretty good right now when you think about it. Being able to all in, he doesn't get stunned out by the wave. There's still a lot of things that can work for him. So I honestly kind of wouldn't be shocked if we started seeing a lot of these big bruisers like Mauga and Zarya, like you were saying.
No, absolutely, because I do think that Mauga can help deny a lot of what Zarya is trying to do. So that would never be a bad shout per se. I just kind of like I said, I love the bubbles with the Reaper. So I think
Agreed.
it just depends if you're going to play that Reaper or not. Because we have seen some teams, even in OWCS, opt for that Reaper or Zarya composition recently.
Yeah, I mean Reaper did get a lot of bonuses, especially with these perk changes. Some of the previous ones were, some of those other ones were a little bit weird, the kind of the dead, but it looks like we are getting the teams in and ready to go. So just waiting for the teams to give us the R's. But like you said, the Reaper was basically just kind of Reaper got a little bit out of it. So did a couple of these other DPSs. So we're gonna have to see what kind of creativity both of these teams bring to the fight.
I wouldn't be shocked to see some more Soj. I think Soj, never a bad shout. Does still really strong as long as you're landing your headshots. It seems like it's either Soj or Freya these days. That's your two hit scanny type of options. And with Freya kind of dropping down, we're back to the Sojourn spot. Because if you get that 150 overclock perk, it's just like boom, boom, headshot, headshot, headshot. Especially with players of this caliber, we're looking at like the top tier of player that is in this game. So you're probably looking at like a Sojourn Tracer as a DPS line realistically. If a team feels like they really like that Zarya Reaper composition, they could, like I said, they could go that route. But I think the more typical route is probably going to be like a Winston Tracer Sojourn, maybe a Diva Tracer
like
Sojourn if that's more your and then you can run like the Kiriko and the Wu Yang. That seems to be a really solid combo as well. So far, you get two really strong healers with really strong survivability, mobility, and ultimates. And then, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of people put that title burst right onto a Tracer, just int as hard as you can into the back line, knock somebody down with that ultimate, and then you get a free kill off of it.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's going to be the skill expression for this current meta. The skill expression for this meta is definitely through the roof, kind of like you had said, between, you know, the Tracer needing to be a high skill, being playing at the top levels here. Your tank has to be able to live and survive and coordinate that team very well. The Wu Yang literally is a lot to take it, but we are ready. Teams are locked in. Let's get right in. Delay no more here.
Looking awfully dark in here.
Let's say it is nighttime here in the NA side there, so it's just a little tech issue, no big deal. We'll get that game in a minute. We'll jump in midway whenever we can, but look, it's a Wednesday night. We're all tired. I'm sick. Like, it's just the way these things are.
You know, I was really curious what comps we were going to start seeing there, and what map we were on, quite honestly, because I think that's going to determine a lot as well. If you get downtown, you know, as opposed to the, is it sub-level, sub-base?
Oh, sub-base, yeah.
Sub-base. Yeah. Yes. Like you have a wide variety between that one, and then I always call it the drum map.
Yes,
I think it's called
I think it's
Sanctuary.
Shrine. Sanctuary, yeah.
Is one of those words, but yes, you have a wide variety of things you can play throughout the various maps, and so I think this first map's going to determine a lot as well. Looks like we're seeing that Sanctuary come out, and there is that Zarya comp I was talking about, actually.
Yeah, there's that Zarya Reaper you were looking at, and also there was that Winston Sojourn you were talking about earlier, and judging by Raz's ult charge, already just dominating the game there, 92-93%. Just, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's got to do with the Winston, quite honestly, right? One side has a Zarya, the other side has a Winston. You can feed a lot more ult charge off the Winston, whereas the Zarya is pretty much always going to have a bubble on cooldown, especially in this tier.
Yeah, particularly that with Chinggis. Just kind of watching that. There's the dive come in. Winston into the backline. Gets sound barrier out. And a bullet does send in that as well. But the Winston punishes, gets deleted right out of that. Following up with a couple more. Sterling does give their life for that. But damage is already done. One easy Wu Yang ult to clean the fight up.
And yeah, again, just waiting for the dive to come in and then responding to it immediately are the Zodiacs right now. Raz has this Death Blossom online. Sterling looking at this Pulse Bomb. There's also going to be a Kitsune Rush available. Dexter getting relatively close to that Graviton Surge as well. That's not what you want to see, though. The Kiriko of Brat Tamer going down early right there.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling won that side fight. Now chasing the Winston. Good for the second one. Looks for the third one. Does get the full Wraith form out of the Reaper. Not much longer for this world. Dexter's there to clean it up. And back to the spawn go the Glizzy Goats.
Yeah, I mean, these DPS are just really dominating right now. Raz and Sterling, every time they turn any direction, and here comes the Kitsune Rush right into spawn.
That is
as well.
so early. Wow, that is an aggressive Kitsune Rush from Ponyo, and that is huge. Forces them right back into the spawn at 87. There's a shot from Chinggis. They're going to pop the overclock there. That's good for 2. Looking for more, letting that charge up. No, say the first clock is on, so it is overclock now, but can't quite get out. It's enough to get back onto the point and get control. It'll be there just in the nick of time at overtime, so perfectly when it was needed the most.
But Sterling still trades out Artistic, man. Sterling's still alive somewhere back here as well, mind you. And Tracers can be pretty escapable. I mean, look at that. Basically still full HP, gets another health back, and that Tracer manages to get away. What a crazy play from Sterling.
Yeah, gets chased out by Algebra, but not enough. Ult's still online. Very, very cost-efficient fights for both teams. Sterling pressuring the point now. As the side, there's the Graviton Surge. It's going to get met in. There goes Burn to Cyan. Immediately out. Kitsune Rush from Brat Tamer thrown in as well. And Artistic Man going to just fire those guns right in and take full advantage. Death Blossom from Raz, though, doesn't catch anybody. And, well, all those ults just a flash dance into the pan. Ebullient there for one more. Sends in that Tide. Gets a stun. What a beautiful stun coming in. It stuns the Winston out on Dexter. Gets the Primal out as well from Algebra, but has to kind of just be the catalyst for it all as Dexter just gets pushed back out of the way. That healing coming in just so there. Even gets Suzu out, and Algebra can't push any further back. Has to get out as those ends. This long fight still going. 72 and climbing. Raz and Chinggis trade out one each there. Still fighting for this point. Death Blossom from Artistic Bay goes immediately nowhere. Raz is just dominating these shots. And that trades one more before they have to give the life. Sterling again there to clean it up. The Zodiacs in charge here of the big drum, and they will take submap 1.
They do, and it ended up not being quite as dominant as we were seeing at first. Get it to 99-0, and then the side of Glizzy Goats do manage to get it to that 85%. But it really just feels like I didn't like the Reaper ult usage there from Glizzy Goats. You as artistic man, you need to know that you can't just pop that ult right in front of the opposing Reaper. They can just kill you out of it. Like it's
Hmm.
because that is just a thing that happens. Reaper just does so much damage up close. So that is something to keep in mind. That ultimate could have gotten probably a little bit more value, but so far, it's looking like the Zarya Reaper synergy is going together a little bit better than the Winston Reaper synergy, and I really do just think it's those bubbles allowing Raz to stay in for longer.
Yeah, big shades of like early OWCS here with the Zarya Reaper here, taking the wide angle with the Zodiacs. I'm going to try to get onto that backline a little bit faster, but, maybe they're going to play it a little bit slower here. Brat Tamer going to have a give up, has to try to get the Lucio and keep him alive here, has to give Suzu up immediately, so great use. Recall for the Tracer of Sterling, though, and, suddenly Glizzy Goats are coastline, and they are suddenly looking back against the ocean here. Dive in from the Winston. Algebra gets eventually pushed up, comes into the Tracer, and no, that's no good. Chinggis just fires right into that Zarya bubble, gets punished for it immediately, and the Zodiacs, again, with a slow, patient rotation, come out the victors.
And that was really, they just put Glizzy Goats right into a kill box, right? They just surrounded them and forced them into a spot where everybody was having to look up and look at a more disadvantageous angle in order to try and get a kill there. And you're just seeing really just the superior positioning so far from the Zodiacs more than anything.
The Reaper had to get out of the way, another bubble onto them, and like you said, this is that Reaper kind of leading the charge and taking the space there. Another bubble back up, and still 80-90% for Raz. The dive comes in, though, but not quite enough for the rest of the team. DPS trade out with Sterling again, continues to lead the kill feed and just get picks from the backline. Raz trying to clean up the dink of those headshots, and the rest of the Zodiacs are there to follow up for the gong.
And there it is once again. Sterling getting that first kill, just allowing the rest of the team to walk forward. Sterling popping that.
Wait, was that a pulse bomb?
That
Wait,
was a
I'm sorry.
pulse bomb. I think that was an attempt at a spawn pulse bomb. That is going to be my guess right there.
Wow.
I would like to see Raz get a really big Death Blossom here, but that's going to be tough going into the sound barrier from the other side on Glizzy Goats.
Dexter now full charge here. Raz doing their job, just holding that high ground pressure. Ult still waiting to come online. Sound barrier up. It's going to get used for the advance, and they'll go forward, but Artistic Man takes too much damage, and the Reaper Duel going to get chased down. There's no healing. Artistic Man falls to the ground, and Raz has to use their own as the other team collapses onto the Zodiacs there. Death Blossom drops in, catches Burnt, and catches Algebra as well. 75%, and the Zodiacs are unstoppable.
No, they absolutely are just rolling with this comp. Dexter just at full charge eternally. Gonna have to grab online for this next fight as well. So you got a grab, you've got a Kitsune, and you have that title burst available. And Chinga's already down.
And that's all three of them already. They're just pushing into spawn. Immediately gets 3, make it 4. And just as you called it out, they're already gone. 76, 97. No one is home. And the Zodiacs make a statement coming into map 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of the comps I expected to see here today, and I'm honestly glad to see it. I don't know. I am one of those people that gets really satisfied by seeing Reaper played. It's such a simple hero, but that's the thing that's like the beauty of it. It's like the beauty of all those old Overwatch heroes, where it's like you have to make sure that Reaper never gets close to you, but it's very difficult, especially with these new perks that have come in.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of pressure from the new kids of Overwatch, right? Like we're seeing a lot of these comps being run with like Wu Yang, Kiri, all those that came in since we added the number 2 on the end. And, still time and time again, we see heroes like these pop up. Reaper, Soldier getting a little bit of attention now, even in some of the pro ends. So like you said, simplicity doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. It doesn't matter as long as it puts, the number on the board.
Yeah, it's just the sheer damage output that Zarya and Reaper can have together at the moment. The fact that Zarya gets that movement buff from her perk as well. It's like it gets rid of the one thing that you were kind of concerned about with Zarya not having that mobility, but being able to shoot yourself up to basically any high ground you could think of really gets rid of that weakness. Like, obviously there's some spots you can't get to, but for the most part, you could just jump up to them now with that perk.
Yeah, that rocket jump perk is so strong. It's always love seeing how the team is kind of managing these perks to kind of give these different heroes moments in the spotlight. But the spotlight on to Busan has faded. We are going on to map 2. It will be the Glizzy's map pick. They have their choice of anything besides control from the hero pool, so we'll see where they want to go. Where do you suspect they might be going though?
With them playing Winston on this last map, makes me think that that's typically the comp that they're going to want to play. So that leads me to believe we're going to see something like a Pariso, something that's like a super dive heavy map.
Okay.
You know, we've got Pariso available, we've got Esperanza available, we've got Dorado available. So I think really any one Dorado, Rialto, any of those maps that just favor more of Winston as opposed to Zarya, you could do that.
Yeah.
Or you could go for like an Atlas, a Saravasa. I believe Saravasa is available as well. Yeah, you could go for an Atlas, a Saravasa, and ban Zarya. So that's
I
another option that you have.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, the real interesting thing for game two, right? Because it's very easy to make this snap decision and go, well, let's just take the Zarya that cripples most of their plan. But I have a feeling that a team like the Zodiacs, they probably are, ready for this. So
Yeah.
while we're waiting on that pick and the eventual bans, like, follow it up, like you said. Do you think it's, is it the snap decision to ban Zarya here? Or do you think that maybe we just kind of take a different piece of the puzzle?
I think you only ban Zarya if you don't take a map that doesn't favor Zarya as well,
Hmm.
right? Because
Okay.
you have those options, right? Because I think, like I was saying, you pick a flashpoint map, you ban Zarya. Zarya isn't particularly good on most of the escort maps, so you have that available to you whenever. So
True.
it's just like I think if you were to pick like Esperanza, I don't think you necessarily need to ban out Zarya per se. I mean, you could, but there is a good amount of space you can avoid her on that map as well.
Well, looks like everything is in. We've got Circuit Royale, which is, well, it's a little flat, and it does kind of lend itself to Zarya in some ways, but like you said, it does kind of lend itself into that. So with the Glizzy Goats picking Circuit Royale, I don't know, Shadow, you're the color here. Tell me what this means.
Yeah, that's a tough one because normally you would see teams opt for like those Sigma based compositions on this map. But recently I've seen teams opting more for those brawl styles and just speeding it with Lucio. So what you could do here, you could ban Lucio, try and force a poke style mirror in a sense. That is an option I think you have, because I think
Yeah, true.
if you were to run like your poke style comp and they try and run the Zarya, you should be able to just give enough space that you're able to still keep that Zarya at bay for the most part. I would think at least.
Yeah, and you already showed us the Sojourn, so that tells me you at least have some amount of like mid-range play. So I guess that kind of makes a bit of sense, but still waiting on those bans to come in to see the full master plan of the Glizzy Ghosts. And yeah, like you said, I'm not, it's interesting to see the kind of projection and the way that Circuit Rail's really grown. We knew it as a Sigma map, and Sigma not exactly great here even. So like you had called out kind of earlier, I actually wouldn't be shocked if we even tried to, just forego the Sigma and play even a Diva on the side of the Glizzy Goats, because that's the same kind of style of play, very defensive, very stable, but able to kind of do a little bit more.
Yeah, you could do that. Me as a tank player, my personal thing that I always find the easiest to do is to just mirror the other tank. Just straight mirror. That always provides a lot of success for me personally when I'm playing Overwatch. So that is another option you could pull out of your bag as well, unless you have a particular plan for this map, which you could. We could see them run out on like Freya Sojourn, something like that. Just go for like pure poke. But
Yes.
Here we go. Ban phase happening. Actually, Zodiacs.
They get rid of Sigma.
Huh.
Interesting.
That is a fascinating pick.
I'm sorry, Glizzy ban Sigma.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting they picked this, typical home of Sigma. So that's maybe, like you said, maybe they're trying to push more of the brawl angle. Maybe they're trying to force her like that. Because Sigma, it could be kind of, he was kind of in the anti-dive camp for the longest time.
Yeah. It that kind of makes me think that they're just looking to. They must just be looking to run it down main with like some sort of brawl comp. I mean, it could be something as simple as running that Malga we were talking about earlier, and it looks like the Zodiacs are going to ban out this Sojourn now, which makes sense.
Okay.
I mean, they were playing Tracer Reaper for the most part, so that makes total sense to me that you would want to get rid of that. I think if the Glizzy Goats are doing this might be the Malga coming out. This might be what it is.
You know, I could see it because, like you said, Mauga commands. So we'd been kind of talking about this pre-scene was, Mauga's just very good at commanding space. So realistically, like, as much as we hate to see Mauga come out, he might be a decent situation. But like you said, maybe they'll just run it down. Reinhardt also looking pretty strong, realistically in some of these comps. So I have a feeling the Glizzy goats they've got a lot of tricks up their sleeve. I have to imagine.
Oh my goodness, you can get as crazy as running some May Reaper. You could get that
Oh
crazy
my gosh,
if
yeah,
that's something
yeah.
you really want to do. You could get real crazy out here with this sort of thing. And especially with the way Reinhardt's played now, I used to be a Reinhardt main myself back in the olden days of
Yeah,
Overwatch 1. Reinhardt is so absurdly easy to play now compared to Overwatch 1. Like it's just
Yeah.
wild how much easier Reinhardt is these days.
Well, now he's just so like all in. You just kind of push, you go,
Yes.
you swing. Like you just get the whole. Like we joke about holding W Reinhardt players, but like this is straight
Yeah.
up like a whole W run in meta,
Yeah.
and just know that and just trust your supports because there is so much to be had for it. But I don't. Who knows what these teams have been planning? Clearly, the Zodiacs going up a 1-0 on Busan here with an undefeated. Just like they have been, they're 2-0 undefeated. They clearly have enough game plans for this. And Glizzy Goats, I mean, hey, if you're still looking for the first game win, so why not try something insane?
No, absolutely. And I mean, we saw them have an 85-99 on point number
Yeah,
1
yeah.
of map 1. So it's just a matter of finding that thing that's working for your team, So
Yeah.
at this point, like I said, I also like their bans have been very odd to me so far because we had a Brigida ban map 1 and now the Sigma ban on map 2. So and it doesn't feel like they're really targeting what the Zodiacs are playing per se. They're just targeting potentially
Yeah.
some stuff that they don't want to see.
It was really interesting because for the they took out the Brigitte, they weren't even playing anything that really would have been necessarily bothered by it. Like the Reaper maybe, but like you take away a Brigitte for like a Tracer or like a Sombra or something. So to see that come out is a different case. Okay. You know what? We didn't get to see Ball in game 1, so maybe it was just okay.
That is actually a really good point. I forgot that Ball got banned on map 1 by Zodiacs. So this actually makes perfect sense. Okay, so they're gonna run Ball, Tracer, Sombra. This is gross. This is a disgusting
This is a mean comp.
right now.
This is mean. And they're gonna hit him right out the gate too. That's mean. Lucio Wu Yang, okay.
Yeah, I have seen it work, especially with this comp. This comp doesn't need like any healing. Like, look at this. None of these.
Yeah, so
characters
everybody's
need
really
heal,
self-sustained. Yeah, you're right. No one really needs it. Chinga's about to be very surprised though. I think when they come out on the Widow, try for some shots. Sombra there, looking in, has to get out of the way though, and the ball slam from Dexter did come through, but not going to be enough to stall the point out. And Chingas hits that shot, beautifully done from the spawn zone, taking those heads out. Finishes Dexter out as well, and the card gets rolling. Not as good as a comp hold as they were maybe hoping for.
No, that's the tough thing about a Widowmaker too, is that just all you have to do is step a little bit out of line, boom, it's an instant headshot. Widowmaker takes you down just like that. And immediately Dexter has already swapped onto this Orisa, looking for basically that frontline brawl damage. Sturley thinking about some swaps here. And we're seeing the Freya come out. Then we have a Baptiste and a Juno. I don't know what this comp is right now, I gotta be honest with you.
It's pretty high sustain, but it's also very bursty. Chingas with another beautiful shot into Sturley in the back line. Still looking for more, has to get out of the way as they are going to get run on. The Suzu comes out and Algebra is able to catch on. But Brat Tamer just trying to get any sort of value. Their first appearance on the Wu Yang. Good for a shot and an easy fight. I mean, that was just kind of lost on the Zodiacs, right? You took too long to kind of change and swap. You gave up so much there.
Yeah, that was a tough first round there. We're seeing some crazy kills coming in right now, especially from this Widowmaker of Chingas. I mean, my goodness, this is why you pick Circuit Royale. Actually, it's if you have a Widowmaker player.
Yeah, I say Chingas absolutely just clicking those heads, denying the sightline from just so far back. They know they can't even approach that. A shot tags, but not quite good. Raz falling dangerously low. A shot does from the fray, does stick. Not enough, has to get out of the way, gets the Suzu. Still alive. Sights in now so they can see everybody there, looking for any flanks. They're trying to line up those shots, but just going to be controlling the lines for now. Freya in the air, manages to dodge out of the way, catches her on the way down, misses slightly. Blade now up for Artistic Man, gets shot and speared out of the way. Kitsune's there, but Raz opens it up, needs this to come in huge as they just run past the rest of the team to get in there. And Brat Tamer trying to get away. Pulse Bomb does go in, and catches Chingus, so that is one down. The number is now favoring the Zodiacs, and I mean, it was a little bit of a catch-up, but they definitely got it. Easy cleanup for the DPS line.
Yeah, we just had to basically wait for Raz to get reset there on that Tracer, managed to get some pressure onto that back line. And Sterling, now that Sterling has a little bit of an angle to start shooting from, it gives Zodiacs a lot more room to operate. Chingus was just controlling so much of this map just by being Widowmaker that it was causing a lot of issues there.
Yeah, you called it, though. This is a very odd backline with the Baptiste Juno, but they are doing well, as that will be the Winston getting forced right back out, trying to hold this sight line. Bola up for Sterling, trying to find anybody. A couple shots in. It's good. The rest of the team just rushing in, running them down. Dexter good for 2 more, and the shots just continue to run from the bowl. Easy cleanup for the side of the Zodiacs.
Good patience there from Sterling, not going out too early, waiting until Chingus's attention is pulled in a few directions before actually going for a play.
No
And I like
way.
this right here. I like this. This is a good play.
No
There is the Bola coming out.
It was good enough to get a bunch of damage in, and Raz is good for follow-up, but Sterling gives their life for it. The Winston just kept going back. Algebra, unfortunately, jumped right over, didn't even see the Freya there, and you know, one costly ult was enough to buy a little bit more time, a little under 3 minutes now on the clock, and a reset for the Glizzy Goats.
Yeah, with Raz going down there, you definitely want to reset. You got some support ultimates to sustain yourself through this, so you should be fine. All you need to do is just wait for both your DPS to get back. Raz actually going on to that Soldier. You mentioned that a little bit earlier, how strong Soldier's looking right now.
Yeah, onto the Soldier, but with the window there, it's going to be met by the Blade, and there's that stun met into the laser. It's good enough. It takes 2 with that combo. A creative use for the Glizzy Ghosts is enough to probably get them, and Chingus not to be left out. Gets one of their own, gets pulled in by the Orisa, is able to jump out. Can't quite catch Raz, but I think the damage has been done here. Looks like, no, I say that, but the Zodiacs are still here, going to be able to kind of get this out of the way. Kiriko gets out of the way, sends in that Kitsune, but it's done. The Winston in now. Primal in hand, has to commit it so they don't just get immediately bullied out of this. Gets the lamp for it, but has to get rid of the space. The Orisa just too sturdy. Algebra, you know, is going to get defeated, has to go back to the drawing board, back to the desk to finish those problems.
Yeah, and there's the major value of having the Orisa right there. I always say that Orisa exists really hard in locations, and that's what we just saw right there. Orisa existing really hard on that edge of the map doesn't allow Algebra to move whatsoever. Chingus not managing to get a shot there, but does have the sights up right now. Raz going to have this tack visor online as well shortly.
There it is, immediately on cue. Raz, anything to go with it. Can't find any low-value targets. Has to try to put it in. Does get Chingus with the rockets, and that's enough for now. So good 1-for-1. Ebullient on the brig, pulls up a second, and it's back to spawn. Glizzy Goats managing to get this moving for now after what feels like an eternity, but again, now back to a minute on the clock, and this is desperate territory for the size of Glizzy Goats.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in. You were really dominant at the beginning of this map, quite honestly. Now we're down to a minute. We're seeing Chingus swap off of that Widowmaker. I think that's going to be really, really helpful. It could still be kind of tough to get value out of, though, because, again, look at this Freya just in your back line.
Yeah, Freya just existed. You're not checking your corners, and Sterling is there to punish you for it. Not even going to be a touch, just looking for the next target. A beautiful turreting from Sterling, and Zodiacs making it look easy onto the pick of the Goats.
No, they absolutely are. And I mean, look, Ponyo going to have this amplification matrix available as well, so that's going to get popped the second that Glizzy Goats try and walk out.
Yeah, and there it is. They threw the ball, gets into the back line, but it does clear the rest of the way. And Algebra trying to make any sort of space. Sterling finds Brat Tamer in the back, and I mean, that's a good chunk of your healing gone. So this is all the way down. Sterling good for a second, and it is just basically all she wrote. 6 seconds, and Algebra's there to try to make the touch. They found her, though. The bolus from Sterling is good. Denied entry from the side of Ebullient. Beautiful hold from the side of the Zodiacs. Well done.
Yeah, Ebullient showing the value of that Brigida going into that Wrecking Ball specifically, just not really allowing them to do much of anything to even get that last touch. Stuns them, throws them backwards, doesn't really let them do much of anything, and that right there is why Brig is an anti-dive character. That is absurd. And I mean, shout out Sterling as well, just getting kind of silly on this Freya, quite honestly.
Geez, 17-4 with 5k damage is kind of insane. I mean, even just looking at the lobbies, you can tell that, you know, that those 2-3 deaths were only from that one fight. So, I mean, Zodiac's been dominant, it looks like. And now the Glizzy Goats, they have to get a stall here. This was their map pick for round 2. If they lose this, they're on match point. So they need to come up with something strong. With the Zodiacs, they got their bread and butter. They are going to play this exactly as it was.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think Dexter has gone down a single time since swapping to that Orisa.
Oh, probably not.
I mean, that is just insane. I've seen this comp come out a little bit recently too. This Bastion pirate ship style, it's starting to come back into play for some reason.
gosh.
I'm not exactly sure what's causing it to come back, but I have seen it a little bit recently.
So my hypothesis for you is triple nade. If you manipulate the things enough, you can get 3 nades, which is just brutal. But I don't think it's. I think it's probably just there to stall the holds. Yeah, we're gonna send the wheels out immediately, maybe clear some spaces and come back to it. Because, like I said, we can't sit in that pirate ship anymore. We don't really have that, even with the major perks, but no major perks for the Orisa shield yet. So back to the Freya for Sturley, and round the first corner we go.
Ooh, Chinggis already getting some good shots off. Oh, the nice jump shot by Chinggis there. Just really showing that Widowmaker is a little bit stronger on defense when you have to aggress into them.
Yeah, those sight lines are brutal for Chinggis. They have everything set up the way they need to see it. Dexter does manage to find the Ana. Cyan burnt to a crisp there, but still not really able to make the space forward as Chinggis slowly giving up the space. They recognize they have to get out of the way with 2 down now. Sturley gives their life for it, but with Algebra going down again, it's all over for the Goats. They have to give up the space. The Orisa is coming for them.
Yep, the Orisa doing what Orisa does, existing really hard in that direction in particular, and getting a lot of damage out right there. And I mean, whew, you should be able to have another touch here just before this caps, I would think, but you need to make sure to not just insta-die when you do touch. Like, you really want a full fight out of this.
Yeah, and you can see Algebra kind of rotate back up to the high ground. They're not going to be able to do it. Chinggis does open it up, so that's the thing they're going to need right there. Sights out from well as Chinggis. They found the soldier on the flank, but not quite enough. They're going to go on the dive. Sunasu is there for Raz, but Raz is getting everything. That was a layup too as well. Raz is refusing to die, takes down Algebra, and absolutely wins. Artistic Man finally puts the menace to rest, and Orisa is just walking it across the finish line here. I mean, it was a great distraction. It's going to be the Surge as well, full power and more. And Artistic Man gets too close. You cannot stay. You can't push that much. Dexter is a menace on the horse.
I mean, that was a great ult from Dexter right there. You know, as the side of Glizzy Goats, somebody has touched that cart, but nobody can. Because Orisa charges that so long that it literally was enough time to just cap if everybody ran away. So it was a bad situation regardless, so you may as well try and get the touch. I get it.
Yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But there's still a little bit more to go here in point B. 4 minutes on the clock. And Nano up for Burnt to Cyan, but no real good targets to it. Too busy trying to keep the team alive. Gets Suzu out pre-fight. But Chinggis once again opens it up. It forces out Visor from Raz through the window. Is a brutal combo. That's enough damage to kill pretty much anybody in the way. Raz good for a second. Trying to wear down the Winston through it as well, but it's not enough. Eventually the sleep comes through, but the Visor's done its work. Slam in from the Winston, and Algebra is there, but it's a 3v1, and this monkey is going back to the zoo and back to spawn room as the cart will scroll right on in. The Zodiacs take map 2.
And I mean, all it took was a simple comp swap, basically changing up your comp pretty much entirely, honestly, but still changing up your comp, and it just looked like another dominant map from the Zodiacs once they did that one simple thing. Dexter on this Orisa just always having full HP, it seemed like, you know, always having more than enough health to finish off multiple of these targets all the time. What an insane character Orisa really is for survivability.
Well, and then add in Suzu, you know, the very brief but instant live, and then add in the lamp, and Orisa just assuredly is going to live forever. The eternal horse will never leave us, and you know, we're just stuck with her forever. Whether you like it or not, she will not die. But what will die is this broadcast very quickly, because we are going to go to a brief break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a couple minutes, 2 or 3, and we'll be back with map point in just a few. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for hanging with us through that short break. It is match point here for the Zodiacs. Glizzy Goats down 0-2 with their pick going in. And we've seen quite a few bans come and go. We've seen a few maps come and go. And if you're the Glizzy Goats, Shadow, what do we do here?
Oh my goodness, this is a tough one, right? Because you took them to the circuit, and I do feel like that was a pretty good outcome to start with. But then as soon as the strategy was swapped up just a little bit by Zodiacs, you couldn't like respond to that response that was given to you. So that gives me that makes it a tough option for me in that case, because if you go to a flashpoint or a push map, you're gonna be looking at either Zarya or Orisa, and you've so far shown that you can't deal with either of those heroes. So that's where the difficulty comes into me, and I think you're stuck with something like a Dorado. That's what I think you're honestly stuck with. You gotta pick. Well, you can't do that because you just picked Circuit
You picked
Royale.
Escort, you picked Circuit
So
Royale.
yeah.
A hybrid, yeah.
You can get a Pariso maybe if that's what you're looking for.
We're just gonna send it. We're just gonna send it to Scrims Row. Okay, I mean, it's a comfort. It's comfort for everybody here, I guess.
I mean,
I don't know that it gives an advantage either way, but
yeah. And at that point, quite honestly, if you're Glizzy Goats, I think you ban out the Orisa. Honestly, unless you want to try and match the Orisa or something, because I think you just need to take that completely off the table. Because I don't think the Zarya was as difficult to deal with as this Immortal Horse was on the last map.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like at least the Zarya, you were able kind of to push them to a limit and force them to make some errors, whereas like the Orisa is just straight up an anti-dive. And it looks like we've got those bans coming in. It'll be a Tracer ban from Glizzy Goats. I don't hate it. I don't think I hate it, Shadow.
No, you can never hate on a Tracer ban, especially if you're not going to play the Tracer yourself.
Yeah.
That can make still to this day one of the highest skill expression characters in the game. So, but if you're Zodiacs, now I don't know what you ban. If you're Zodiacs, you're kind of free to do whatever you want to at this point. I was literally going to say Ana. I should have just said it. I was like, you could ban something like Ana.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't really played the Ana,
Yeah, get rid of a potential anti coming your way, you can, there you go. You get rid of that pretty easily.
Yeah, like you'd said, I don't think the Zodiacs are super scared of it. It just kind of takes away one of the things that would probably be the bigger pain to deal with in the backline. Like, they haven't shown, so the Glizzy Goats haven't showed us a Wu Yang, so you're not necessarily like worried about a bunch of stun. You saw a Brig, like you didn't really see a lot. You saw Lucio in the backline, and you've proven you can kind of run through that. So Zodiacs just feels like maybe we're just kind of ready, kind of lining up the nail for the coffin in a way.
That is what it feels like, honestly, to me. And at least getting rid of the Tracer means you're probably forcing them into like a soldier pick if they want something of that same ilk as the Tracer. So something a little bit, I feel like, easier to corral at the very least than a Tracer would
Yeah.
be doing that same role. Or you're looking at a bunch of characters that probably are not going to have that level of mobility and have to kind of sit in front of you at different angles in a sense, which is a little bit easier to deal with than a Tracer would be.
Surprise venture pick incoming, obviously, because who else is going to flank those? But I don't know. Either way, the Zodiacs ready to close us out for another 3-0 match point Kings Row here in the NA Open, and well, they're making a good case they're making a good case into the midseason playoffs. We have some swaps coming in, so we're gonna see some new talent coming in. We'll see who these teams decide to bring in a moment, but. Yeah, like we'd kind of talked about earlier, the week 3 midseason's just around the corner, and for a team like the Zodiacs, they could go into this #1 seed with an easy coast through round 1.
I mean, absolutely. They still haven't lost a map yet, so like you're looking at some very high seeding, giving you some potential to play against some of those top teams in the tier, see where you stack up against everybody. Open tier is always super highly competitive up at that top level, so you really would want to see where you stack up at, and I think this team's going to stack pretty highly from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, so swaps are in, and well, they're cooking. They sure are cooking something here. We'll see whatever it is. We've got Algebra coming in from the tank to the DPS, making a swap. An Artistic Man, who we saw on Reaper, and I believe taking the, I don't even remember what they played in game 2, I'm sorry, but Artistic Man moving over to it was Genji. Okay, wow. Artistic Man coming over to the tank. Shadow, explain.
It could just be like you need to change a pace, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Coming from a tank player, if you lose too hard too many times in a row, you might just not feel like playing that anymore. It might just be that situation, quite honestly. It could be a thing where they swap around their roles based on what the map is. Like maybe Algebra's stronger on those divey type heroes, and Artistic Man is stronger on those brawly type heroes. Yeah, and that's going to be my prediction. That's going to be my actual prediction. I think that Artistic Man is just better at those brawl type heroes, your Zaryas, your Orissas, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really see Algebra play that too much. It's pretty much exclusively Winston Ball. I don't remember seeing anything else, actually.
Yeah, I don't see much else. And I mean, realistically, like you had said, Algebra was over on the Reaper in map 1, so maybe a much more aggressive tank coming into the way. This is a very aggressive meta right now, so like you said, maybe it's just maybe we need to change of pace, or maybe we're just throwing whatever at the wall. Maybe sometimes it'll get whatever it takes. But Jolly Old London. Match point here. Glizzy looking for their first win, and it's all on the backs of these changes.
Well, there's certainly something being picked right now.
They're on the attack. We can't even look at that. Come on.
There are a collection. I was talking about on the defense.
Oh,
we
on
got
the
Mercy.
Okay.
We had a Mercy for a moment.
No, that was never going to come out. That was never going to come out. Come on.
Oh, man. Here comes that Malga, though, potentially. Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
That could actually be happening. That's going to be tough, though, going into a Junkrat and a Reaper. I can't say the last time I've seen a Junkrat at this high of a level, but, people can kill it with that character at this level.
Yeah, as I say, the high order of ranking Junkrats are few and far between, and it is going to be the Doomfist. Okay.
All right, so it looks like we're getting creative.
Chingus with the opening shots does manage to dink Ebullient, barely any HP left. Artistic Man goes in, manages to get out for now, but maybe just kind of hoping on Chingus to work their magic like they had on Circuit Royale, not quite coming up with anything. Ebullient gonna go ahead and rotate back, keep themselves into safety and coverage of that hotel. Raz just gonna go ahead and head back out because it looks like they will keep it going and hold it down here. They're nice. It's been a slow approach for certain. Artistic Man opens it up for one, does find Raz in that corner. And you know what? That's the first pick we've had that didn't come from Chinggis for a while. Slam into the Zarya. Gets a couple shots in. Another punch charged up there. Has to throw up the hand to try to get any sort of power. Bubble use from Dexter. Going long onto a big slam. Catches several. Dexter low. It gets Suzu out, but it's not enough to complete the kill. They do get a tick, so it's a win con, but it does trade Sterling out. And this might have been it. I don't think they were ready for the Doomfist. That was it. Artistic Man apparently must have been playing Doomfist before the swap to tank. It was just enough to get him here, and they will get the capture point segment.
I mean, Doomfist, Winston with extra steps, and you can get those instant slams off. And here comes the punch, getting Ponyo out as well. And like I said, you mentioned before, that level of speed and aggression, just not really ready for it. And just that absurd amount of HP that you have to go through to try and deal with this. I mean, look at that ult difference right now. Artistic Man is sitting at ult. Dexter only at 53% on that Zarya.
But Raz is already a little bit closer. Same with Ponyo, both in the 80s. So the rest of the team is still on their way up. Chinggis also close to coming into that. Algebra now sitting back. Just keeping the cart rolling here. Is Sterling going to go ahead to try to deny some of these angles and hold these back alleyways hostage, but still just waiting for the setup to go. Wu Yang gets caught out. Reaper on him. Raz is there, but has to get out of the way. 15 HP, manages to live for now. The punch was there. Ooh, that was a brave cutaway to miss that, but the sights are up. Deflect in the way. No one home. Not worth it. Still have those sights for as long as we can, but Raz with this Death Blossom trying to get anybody out of the way. Artistic getting out of the way. Dangerously low. Gets healed up. Looking in for that Death Blossom. Sends it. Catches 3 for a huge Blossom. Raz just came up and won it.
Oh man, Death Blossom again. I mentioned this earlier, man. I love seeing Reaper plays because you have to be like blatantly bold on Reaper to pull that Death Blossom and actually manage to get some value out of it. You got to be almost disrespectful, is the way I feel when I'm playing Reaper personally. At least I feel like you got to just be a little disrespectful to the enemy team and be like, you can't stop me from doing this. And it's just there's something just really satisfying about it.
3v1 was pretty disrespectful. Slam up, scares the Wu Yang away. He's met by the Genji, but now on the high ground, Artistic Man trying to make a little more magic. Kitsune Rush is sent out from Ponyo, matched by Brat Tamer. He's going to send in a little bit more, but there's not really out of the way. The Zarya just going deep, eventually gets punished for it. A great turnaround. 2 now onto the Soldier. Algebra gives their life for it, but looks like it might be enough. Trying to wear through the Doomfist. Can't quite get that pick, and Ponyo in the meantime catches 2 on the main. Huge play from the support.
Absolutely. That's why you just kind of chuck those kunai right at head level. You can just manage to get so many kills on that Kiriko. Seeing 3 final blows coming out right there. Chinggis going to be on that Sojourn now. And Algebra going to have their TAC Visor online. Could potentially get some good value out of it. But I think it's going to be tough to really find those targets with this TAC Visor as well, just with these characters.
Especially with Wu Yang just pelting you down. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the grab is there for good. But Artistic Man trades out 2 in the middle of it. It doesn't matter. That grab was good enough. The damage is done, and it's just Artistic Man all alone again, trying to survive. Back to spawn they go. 2:30 on the clock. The stagger, well, maybe a little BM, maybe a little mean, but that's what happens.
Hey, I mean, that's what you got to do, right? That's smart plays. That's really smart plays right there. And now still coming into this fight, you got the Meteor Strike online, and you have the TAC Visor. Well, you had the TAC Visor, and then Algebra went down there.
Back
but
to
now
the drawing
Raz,
board. I'm sorry, where was that going? It does get the stun. That's actually insane. It gets the stun from when it landed. There's that Death Blossom again, straight to your face. Raz good for 2 more. They do give their life for it, but that's 2 for 1 value.
I mean, that's another prime example of just being blatantly disrespectful with a Death Blossom, and that's the way you play Reaper. You're just in. You've got the bubbles of your Zarya to back you up. As long as you have those available, you know what's going on. And Sterling is going to be caught back here, managing to get out, but they do have that blade online for this fight.
By the Visor, and there's going to be a Wu Yang ult as well to throw with it, but Car's moving around the corner, 130, so luckily looking to last fight territory. Does catch the corner. Sterling trying to get a value on that blade. Slash, dash, there's the cut, looking for more. Suzu's out, not enough, gets burned. Looking for a second, finds Chinggis, and eventually gets put into the ground by the 2. More from the side of the Glizzy Goats, but Dexter, meanwhile, has just been wearing down the rest of the team here with the Reaper. This two-piece combo has just been so strong this series.
It absolutely has been. And you're just kind of stuck in a tough spot because anybody you lead to fight on the cart has to deal with a full charge Zarya while you go off and do Doomfist things. So you kind of need to find some angle that you can just leave your squishies at that they won't just get pelted by the Zarya.
You got to, but especially with the Reaper flanking there, Raz deep on an angle. Kitsune rushes there from Brat Tamer, though. It's going to be met by Panyos, and it is good enough. Bernstein does manage to get one, and Artistic is good to try to get a little bit of chaos in the back line. Nothing there. Catches one out. A great slam. Catches Sturley out, and an additional punch. Artistic Man making this Doomfist look workable. You know, I hate to say it, but Artistic Man quite literally putting on the backpack and carrying it right now.
No, absolutely. Doing a great job of just catching these players out anytime they try and take any angles. And you're just not ready for just that pure mobility, as we keep seeing, just immediately right in your face, able to back up, getting that full-powered punch, and just having ultimate off cooldown.
Chinggis now with the overclock sends in for good for one. Space made by Artistic Man to good for more. The high ground is there, but it's not quite going to be enough. Sturley manages to get a bubble and live for now. The Artistic Man still continues to go deep, gets burned down, but Dexter has no one with him. They have to complete this kill on the Zarya because that charge is too high, but there's no one there. They burn the bubble through, but someone has to complete it. Finally, Dexter falls. The stun from the Wu Yang is there, and it catches Doomfist out safely. Progress made here with a minute on the clock.
And some great progress at that. This Wu Yang getting close to the ultimate as well. Burnt Ocean needs to watch closely, make sure they don't go down. They're the only ultimate, and that's what can't happen.
No, that was what they needed there, but that is going to be a Bullion ult in his first. Sturley going in good for the slash and dash to find two, and they'll hustle on out. Glizzy, let's get one more shot here with 45 seconds left.
Yeah, here it is, last fight territory, going to build up to that title burst. Not much else though. Raz going to be disrespectful once again, getting quite a few with that Death Blossom.
Raz going for that play of the game right there. That was, like you said, that was brutal. That was disrespectful. And this game has been Raz's playground. 20 seconds. And I mean, there's going to be a... Look at this man. He does not care. There's a Doomfist in his face, and he's just going to go ahead and keep walking. He's getting bumped all the way through. Raz is just sitting out of the fight. Finally gets punched back out of it. Gives his legs for his attitude there. But the rest of the Zodiacs are there to back him up. The punches from the Doomfist are not enough. 8 seconds, and somebody has to try to get there. I don't think they're going to make it in time. No, they're not even worried about that right now. Glizzy Goats. I mean, to be fair, you got to respond when a statement like that gets made.
You definitely have to. That's the most worthwhile emote Raz has ever used in their life, I bet. I mean, let me tell you right now, it's always a very good feeling when you're just, again, that's how you play Reaper, though. You are just incredibly disrespectful to the enemy team consistently because you're like, you can't stop me from doing this thing that you already know that I'm trying to do.
Yeah. He will get in your face. Those shotgun pellets will do so much damage. And then think about how much cover the Reaper has going into this, right? You have not only the Zarya, but the Wu Yang too.
Yes, anybody that you might get low as Reaper, that Wu Yang can follow up and get those final blows. That's what I think is really the crazy good thing about Wu Yang, is Wu Yang can just finish off so many of those kills that you think you might not be able to get, because those water balls can just go all the way across the map. Like, it's crazy how much you can guide those things around.
Yeah, I mean, I assume we're maybe going to start seeing some fall off down the road, but you know what? The Zodiacs are going to go ahead and, I believe that's Glizzy Goats now on the defense now. They're going to run back the Doomfist with a Reaper of their own this time, and I don't hate that. Honestly, it's been the most successful thing you've done, arguably, today. And I think this is probably the change we needed, but it's still a lot to go given what Zodiacs are looking to show here. And, you know what? You know what? If they're going to make it work. They're going to do it. Zodiacs are just going to come here and they're going to win.
You know, I'm just going to say, I don't think Hog is a bad choice for trying to deal with Doomfist. As goofy as it sounds,
Agreed.
Hog is not a bad choice for that direct matchup.
No, but it is unfortunately not great when the rest of your team just gets pinged out by Chinggis, who has got beautiful open sight lines there. So Zodiacs, all right, maybe you need to keep it serious here. You do gotta maybe give up the goat a little bit here and put a little respect, because Chinggis will take your head off.
No, Chinggis been very strong on all these hit scan picks. Mostly been on the Widowmaker, but still really strong on that Sojourn as well. And still going to continue to see the Roadhog come out, as well as the Life Weaver and the Junkrat for that matter.
It's like you said, it's all, it might seem cheesy, but it is all good anti-Doomfist tech, so I get it. Hook does catch one, and that is burned to Cyan. Back to spawn. Ponyo follows up with a second, and that is going to be the point falling right over as Dexter just walks in, catches a second hook. Algebra back, book closed, and that is going to be the point segment for the Zodiacs.
Can I just tell you how glad I am that Roadhog doesn't have a stupid little trap anymore? Like I thought that was
Oh
like
my
the
God,
worst
yeah.
thing ever, and now Roadhog does not have that. I believe one of Roadhog's perks does actually heal the team
Give it to him?
somewhat,
Yeah.
which is a crazy thing to give Hog. But I guess Hog needs something.
Oh, what? You didn't like the... I'm sorry, Raz was just... Okay, Raz got punished. Trades 1-1 for that one, but like you said, disrespectful, had to give it up. Oh, what? You don't like the Vape Cloud? I think the Vape Cloud was everybody's favorite. But meanwhile, Sturley on the Junkrat just going to go ahead and have a field day. Just grenades and spam everywhere. And... All right. I mean, hey, you traded out. Artistic Man is putting in work here. I think if you're Glizzy Goats, this is something you remember for the future.
Yeah, you absolutely want to hold on to this. This Doomfist is doing a great job right now. You could try and plan it around like more divey style maps even. It's this has been a really strong comp for you, but again, that Junkrat is kind of tough to go into as a Doomfist. He can just throw you off your game so hard when you're trying to be pitch perfect with that movement.
Yeah, and the Hog just walks in, just fumbles his way in, just stumbles it in. There's a stun onto the Hog. Dexter's still good. 2 more picks go the way of the Zodiacs. Tire to clear out anybody's left, gets Brat Tamer. Artistic Man still trying to do anything in the back, and Ebullient just gonna vibe on that cart. I mean, Zodiacs, they pick the answers right away. It looks like they are not letting off.
No, they are not in any way whatsoever. And this Hog of Dexter, that's got to be a max range hook. What was that?
That's crazy.
Insane. That's what happens to me in my ranked games. That's what that is.
Yes. Stun comes in. There's Burn to Ocean's ult. It's going to get immediately pushed back by the whole Hog, though. Met by Brat Tamer's Kitsune as well. So high charge, fast bullets from everybody here. Chingus trying to get any sort of value from the top rope. Algebra gets nothing, unfortunately. Exploded out of the sky. And it looks like we will get it across the line for the side of the Zodiacs. Just keeping the team safe. I believe that's the cleanse heal maybe on the Life Weaver even, but 4 minutes and 30 on the clock, and the Zodiacs, another clean 3-0 in sight.
Oof. Don't look now, but Raz has another Death Blossom online. There it goes, actually, onto the dead body of Burnt Ocean.
Oh, gosh. Well, hey, you thought you were going to need it, but I guess not. Soldier now out from Algebra, hooked and immediately sent back to spawn. The stun is there. Still catches them in spawn, but it's not enough. They are just keeping this clear for a nice, easy cruise in across the line. And need your strike onto the point. It does get Sturley. And they managed to stop it for now. Artistic is the hero they needed. Chingus back on that. Widowmaker gets a third. And that is enough to stall for now. But Dexter's still a menace in the background. Kind of wish you had that on now, I bet, don't you? But unfortunately, not enough. It looks like Glizzy Goats hold on for the time being. But, I mean, they got a long way to go.
No, they for sure do. I'm betting that's actually why that Ana ban came in. There must have been some plan to play this Roadhog at some point here. This is a 5-head ban that we saw before this map even started.
Passive, a little bit of passive play from Artistic, just a little bit slow, gets moved around a little bit. Kitsune rushes there, but Sturley just manages to knock Chingus out of the air. Good for a second, as the cart is there on the high ground, uncontested, unbothered in his own lane, and the Zodiacs take the fast lane to a victory.
They most definitely do. They had the answer every single time. Glizzy Goats would always start the map off really strong, and then every single time, Zodiacs would just say, "Actually, we have a perfect idea for that."
As I say, they just had an answer, and a team of that caliber, I don't think anybody's really surprised. Even if you had looked at that comp coming out and been like, "Oh, they're just trolling, they're just memeing." No, everything there was really good. Versus the Doomfist, the Hog, the Junkrat, even the Life Weaver is really good because if the Hog just gets stuck, you can just yank him right out. Like, it was calculated from top to bottom in a well-deserved 3-0 for the Zodiacs. They go up 3-0 total into week 4, and the Glizzy Goats back to the drawing board, still looking for that first win. But we're gonna have an interview. Dexter will be coming in to join us from the Zodiacs. Give us a minute to get that going, and we will be back with him in a minute or two. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We did manage to find Dexter. We pulled them from the depths of their team celebration. So welcome in, Dexter. Congratulations. And normally I ask you how you're feeling, but I'm not going to ask that question. I have a more important question. I have a more important task for you today. 6'4", feminist, and rich was the note you gave us. Go ahead, shoot your shot. Put yourself out there.
Well, I actually have a boyfriend. I just thought I would include that so everyone is aware of the kind of tank player that I am.
That's fair. Okay, respect. All right. Can't say anything to that.
Right. Well, all right. My first question is gonna be, what is making you determine whether you want to play like the Zarya or the Orisa? Is it just purely map dependent, or like what varied between say Circuit Royale and Busan?
It tends to be map dependent. For the like sightlines, I'd rather play the Orisa. When we want to be more in there and I want to enable my DPS, we play the Zarya. I just kind of throw a bubble on the Raz and he 1v5s.
He sure does. He sure does.
Absolutely. I mean, like I was saying, the whole cast, Reaper players got to be just blatantly disrespectful the way that they play the game, and having that Zarya bubble to back them up definitely helps with that. And my other question was going to be, is there any particular team in the tier, if you've taken a look at the tier at all, that you're really looking forward to play? Because I imagine you should be locked up for that mid-season tournament now. So is there any team you've been looking out for?
We don't really think there's a team that can match us so far. We think that we're gonna have a nice little sweep this season.
Okay. That's a bold sentence. That's a bold statement. All right. NA Open, you got some work to do. Well, let's get you back on the way. It's very late for you in particular. So anybody you want to shout out? Anybody you want to send some thanks to before we let you go?
Shout out to our coach Eli. He let me sing Fetty Wap for 5 minutes on that last map. We just didn't come at all. I just sang Fetty Wap the whole time. So shout out to him. And obviously shout out to my team.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dexter. Get back out there. Go enjoy some sleep eventually, and we'll see you in week 4.
All right. See you in week 4. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Well, Shadow, dominant win from the side of the Zodiacs. I mean, we kind of didn't expect anything better. They were running up the face it tiers, and I mean, you heard how confident he sounded. Can you blame him?
No, I mean you can. We just saw them legitimately run out on Roadhog, Lifeweaver, Junkrat, and be pretty dominant on it. So yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, that will likely guarantee them a way into the mid-season playoffs. So next week they will have to play for that better seeding. And unfortunately for the Glizzy Goats, that more than likely knocks them out of positioning for that. Still in search for that first map win, but they have been there too. It's quite a variety up here in the NA Open division.
Yeah, it most certainly is. I mean, I gotta say though, that Zodiacs team looking incredibly strong, formidable. The rest of the tier, like you said, needs to watch out for sure.
Yeah, they're not afraid of anybody, but I am afraid that this cast is over for the day. So thank you for joining us for some incredible Overwatch action here tonight. From myself, from Shadowfang, from Friday, and Hippie behind the booth, thank you all. Have a great evening. Take care and stay safe. We'll see you in the next one.